Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. My name is Inaris, and today we're here watching a 1 versus 1 on the map GSL Terminus. Now this is one of the new maps that's going to be incorporated into the GSL, surprise! And yeah, it's actually a pretty darn fun map. I've had the opportunity to play on it a few different times here. Let's go over the players real quick. We do have the Red Terran, whose name I am not able to pronounce, and the Blue Zerg xel'naga. This is obviously from the Asian server. And I'm actually looking forward to this. I haven't seen a Zerg versus Terran on this map yet. Now, for those of you who have not tried it out yet, we can just give a quick overview. First of all, this is the pointless command terminal that has no bearing on the game whatsoever. This is the main base, and you'll notice it is mirrored 4 different areas right here. So, pretty wide open. You see there is one spot right here, kind of a landing spot for, any sort of drops or whatnot, kind of out of the range of the viewing from the main area. Here's the main entry for the main base. Now notice there is a neutral supply depot. I'm starting to see this on a lot of maps that are coming out of the community, and it's actually really helpful for Zerg especially. Because what it is meant to prevent players from doing that whole deal where they'll drop the pylons, like pylon here, and then a photon cannon, like we saw in one of the previous games that I've cast, and then essentially isolate the expansion from the main base early game, where, Zerg really doesn't have a whole lot of options for dealing with it other than canceling the expansion. Or if they feel like they can, keep a drone there dancing back and forth, good, but for being forced to take off that one drone and keep it there for the entire time, I mean, that's not really something you should force a player to do. So that supply depot will definitely help out with that. Now, let's look at what Xena is doing right now. He is throwing down an early expansion at his natural, which you see does have 8 minerals and 2 geysers, so pretty standard on that, again, right next to that supply depot. And then look down here at his second base. You see there's a ramp immediately outside of the natural leading down to a second base. This is kind of a freebie here, because this is the only entry point, and you can also get down here for cliffs like with Reapers or Colossi, but other than that, completely isolated there on land. But notice this only has 6 resource nodes and 1 rich Vespine geyser. Now the North American version of this is different. This is 8 minerals with 2 normal geysers, but on the Asian servers these maps are a little bit different. So it's pretty interesting to play on them. Nonetheless, Terran over here choosing to wall off, pretty standard opener for the Terran against Zerg, getting that fast command center. Again, these expansions, they can be pretty easy to hold if you're able to establish a defense here. The things you've got to watch out for are sneak attacks, obviously down here, covered in Shroud, back here, pretty close to the Zerg base. Once the Zerg takes this, you can see he'll actually be in spotting position for this area right here. It is a ledge higher, but still, you see the Overlord just kind of hanging out right there, giving them a few options later on in the game. So Terran, meanwhile, is continuing to scout over here. And another thing, just like the other GSL maps, these maps do not have any high-yield expansions. You see there's just 4 central mineral spots here in the middle, and also 4 xel'naga watchtowers, which are located, I like this actually a lot, the 2 ramps that do head down and then go immediately back up. So that means if you've got forces over here, you really don't know what's on either side without controlling this watchtower. The Zergling right now, you see, sure enough, he's just not able to see much of anything being down at this lowered position. So let's take a look at the builds here. And speaking of builds, I do want to point out before we get started too far into this, you're going to see some different timings and whatnot from the regular Blizzard maps, simply because of things like when some expansions, they only have 6 minerals. On Crevasse, there is actually, I'm not sure why this ping there. On Crevasse, there's actually a expansion that is secluded just next to your main base that only has, I think it's 5 or 6 minerals. So it definitely makes for some different kind of timings for structures, tech, and whatnot. Different strategies. So very fun to watch those. Now let's look right here. We see that Zerg has established himself pretty darn good with the economy, sitting at around, you see, it's around 1,000 to about 700, 29 to 23 harvesters, and it helps that there's been no pressure from the Terran whatsoever. That's one of the things about these bigger maps, is it's not quite as easy to put pressure on your opponent, simply because of the fact that they're so far away from each other, and scouting the player, early is really a thing of chance. As there's 4 spawning positions, and to get from one to the other, unless you check, unless you just happen to check both of them, you're probably not going to find them really that early. So Terran has thrown down a depot back here. Again, a good move to keep an eye on this, as it is blocked off from the rest of the base, and is currently working on a factory. Now, he has moved his wall from the top of his base here, that was meant to defend against any sort of early aggression, down to this spot right here, which you see is kind of a choke point. It is narrowed down a good bit compared to, say, out here, but still very wide open area. It is possible to lay siege here. But speaking of siege, this can be a great spot for siege tanks. You look how the wall kind of extends right down here, giving the Terran player firing range of this entire area. So whatever comes over here is going to have to hang over here, unless he wants to be blanketed by siege tank fire. Now we do have Zerglings coming over here, deciding to check out the Terran the Terran base, where he will see the defenses, and he's going to have to assume that that expansion has gone down. I think he actually barely saw the command center. Of course, now it's not really shown for me. There we go. Yep, sure enough, he is good to go on that information. Engineering bay going down as well. Good to have a turret or two in the rear. The reason being is because if you look at the outer edges of this map, there is a lot of free space. You can navigate fairly easily with a pack of Mutos or Banshees or anything of that sort behind the mineral line, and then when the Marines or Hydras come, you can escape to relative safely. And what is this, folks? We have a Nidus Worm coming over here in the third base for the Terran player, just outside of visual range. Oh man, this could be a lot of problems for Terran. You see, he has no defenses over here whatsoever. Didn't put a supply depot down here, which probably wouldn't have been a good thing. So Zerg is definitely going to have an advantage popping in here right past all of the defenses. We see his base right now. He is currently, again, no worry about attacks whatsoever. Hasn't capped this expansion yet, but here come the Roaches and the Zerglings heading up the top of the ramp. SCVs are going to be coming off to try to perform some kind of a buffer maneuver. However, there's no firepower to back it up, so they're essentially just going to be fodder. Look at that. Siege tanks are established here. A couple of Zerglings are getting in here. Bunkers doing their thing. Oh, man, Zerg is actually kind of funneled into that position right there. Manages to, took out the tank. Nice focus fire right there. I didn't think he'd be able to get that because of the SCVs repairing, but some nice DPS burst right there in the middle of the line, able to take out that tank very quickly. And this expansion has been shut down. You see there are two bunkers doing their thing. SCV's not worrying about repairing it at all, and the Roaches are just directly engaging the Marines. He's not really too worried about losing the forces. He knows he is causing severe damage to this Terran player while he is continuing to reinforce the army with more Roaches. No upgrades just yet, nothing on the way, just more and more Roaches to continue to put pressure on this Terran player. Zerg knows that it's going to be a lot more difficult later on to deal with this expansion, so he's trying to put on a little bit of mid-game pressure here to take it out as soon as possible. And Terran player's not lifting up this command center. Zerg getting more reinforcements, going to be coming up the top of the ramp here. One siege tank still in position. I like how Terran's trying to establish a little bit of a bunker position. Doesn't want to put it directly in the line of fire here. Roach is coming over here, taking a pretty darn big splash damage hit from the siege tanks. Finally lifting off that command center, not before it came dangerously close to dying. Will he pop off those SCVs trying to repair it? That looks like he will. One of them does go down. Thought I heard a second siege tank there for just a moment, but it looks like there was just one. So there's number 2 right there. So while all this is going on, notice that the Terran hasn't sent down any forces to take out the Nidus Worm. It is still a real and present threat here in the Terran base. He is trying to establish some defenses here, bringing up the siege tank to be able to have firing range on the ramp, catching the Roaches as they do come up. Look at that. Several Roaches are very close to dying. Don't want to be charging too far into that, as that command center is still burning, man. Geez, got to repair that thing already. Overseer here in the back of the base going to be scouting out the Terran army, heading over there as we speak. Finally, Zerg has taken that expansion. Oh, what is that? We got another Nidus Worm coming over here. Say that 5 times fast. In the very back of the Terran base. Going to be forcing the Terran player to shift his defenses. Here come 3 Marines, and the SCV is going to try to burst that down. What's going to happen here? Roaches are popping out. SCV retreat! Back to the Batcave, ladies and gentlemen, as 3 Marines, 2 and 1, 0, tried to defend that. And now we have nothing. I don't want to hear pinging over there. I guess more units are being loaded into that. But taking out that tech lab, really hoping to put a limit on the amount of siege tanks that the Terran player can get. Oh, man, look at that right there. Huge amount of damage being taken by the Zerg, as most of his Roaches are very close to dying. You see he's making a bunch of Mutalisks as well, going to try to take advantage of this terrain and also the immobility that currently Terran is having to deal with. Now, once again, going to be reinforcing this other Nidus Worm, sending Zerglings into the mineral line here. There are now a number of siege tanks here ready to defend. 2 bunkers in position with 1 supply depot, making a nice choke point here, not allowing a lot of forces to come in. But here come the Mutalisks right into the mineral line, taking out more SCVs. Terran is just having to go all over the place here to repel these attacks. There goes another mule, man. That Terran player, he really needs those mules to get back in the game. You look at the economy right now, 22 to 47 on the harvester count, ladies and gentlemen. So Terran, oh wow, I'm speechless right now. 300 minerals, 400 minerals per minute. He is trying to get back into this game. All he's going to have is enough money for a few Marines and maybe some more SCVs here. He's certainly going to have to get down some turrets if he doesn't have to want to worry about these mutalisks, which are still coming in here, attacking, just engaging the Marines directly, even with the bunker. Doesn't really care too much about losses there. And now look at those siege tanks, very vulnerable to air fire. One of them will go down, another one very close will go down. Oh, wow, 3 hit points, but the Marines are here to save the day. Taking a look at the Zerg base now, you can see more reinforcements are on the way, now establishing a front line. The very edge of the base there. Weapons 1 for the mutas is on the way. And now Zerg is just kind of giving a momentary rest. Just kidding! Haha! Muta time in the back of the base. Going to be taking out that supply depot, denying Terran vision of this portion of the map. Could open up another opportunity for Zerg. Could do with some sort of a drop right here. Maybe a nidus network. You know, at this point, the Terran is so defensive, he's having to just turtle up at this point. You see he's really hunkered down at this expansion, doing everything he can to guard against the nidus network, which is still here. Oh, man. Mita's trying to do some more harassment. Again, that's not really going to work out so well with this group of Marines here. You see that they are pretty darn heavily damaged, though. A couple of them very close to death. Infestation Pit going down for the Zerg player, and he is also expanding to another base. You look at the income right now for him, he's at about 1,500 compared to Terran's 1,200. That's only because of the mules. Look at that third one coming down right there, 65 to 27. This guy is all kinds of contained here as we get ready to go past the 16-minute mark. Hive is on the way as, look at that, man. 3 evolution chambers. Zerg looking to really kick it up with the upgrades there. May want to be making the final push once he does have those. Air attack level 1 just about complete. Just continuing to harass with the mutas here. Now, at this point, you know, the Terran's options are kind of limited. He can continue producing Marines, which will probably be pretty darn cost-effective, considering his income. You look at the main base right here, you know, it's not worth rebuilding to fully saturate those, because there's only a small portion of minerals left. Uh-oh, here come the Marines, going to try to take out that Nidus worm. Will they be able to do it? I think they will. It's going to be going down. Finally, that Nidus is destroyed. Oh, poor Zergling coming over there to mourn the loss. No, Wormy! No! Oh, well, that's okay, because I'm sure the Zerg can build another one anytime he wants to. Especially since he has, uh-oh, got another one coming down here. Wormy is returning! He's going to bust through the ground any second. Marine trying to do the damage that he can, even stemming. But Wormy has returned! Zergling very, very overcome with joy right now as more mutas are coming into the base, going to try to take out that turret. Do anything he can here to shut down that economy. Look at that. He's engaging the Marines directly. Again, he knows those Marines are so very low on the hit points. And by low, I mean now they're so very dead. So we've had some fantastic harassment today from the Zerg player, just pulling the Terran forces back and forth on this expansion, really taking advantage of the fact that the Terran player did not have a lot of anti-air, and earlier took advantage of the fact that the Terran didn't have squat for defenses right here, didn't have any scouting or anything. Just great play overall from the Zerg here, as he continues to exert, well, I mean, okay, let's face it, he has complete map control. The Terran player is not getting out of this. The only thing that he can hope to do right now is just live long enough to mine down these minerals, try to build up an appropriate force to counter what the Zerg is doing, combined with some good recon from some comsats. You know, just a couple of them, at least get an idea of what the Zerg player is doing. See, actually, right now, Terran, he hasn't seen squat. He hasn't even used a comsat in a while. I think he used one down here, but that's going to be about it, folks. We see some Corruptors are on the field, as well as a Greater Spire, so we might actually see some Broodlords today. Almost called them Guardians for a second there. If you guys have not played the map Desert Strike, and this is completely off topic, but Desert Strike is a really fun custom map on the North American server, and you build these things called Guardian something, I forgot what they are, but they look exactly like Guardians from the original StarCraft, except they have these wicked long tails, and they do these barrel rolls. You know, Peppy would be proud. So it's pretty fun map. Definitely check that out here. As Zerg player just continuing to build up his forces, man, I'll tell you what, these Broodlords, I think this is going to be the death blow right here. Just sending those in, there is nothing the Terran player can do about that. If they come in at any position, except for like right here, of course the Marines could stem and come up under there. But you know, I don't see Terran getting out of this here. He has finally taken a third base. It remains to be seen whether or not he'll actually be able to push this off here. But look at that Marines, or the Mutalisks, trying to engage in the Terran base. Pulling a lot of these forces over here, while we see a giant blue ball splitting into two blue balls, heading over here in the southern portion where the creep is even expanding up to the main. Oh, wow, that's just lulzy right there, folks. I have to say, I like this Zerg. He has got some style. So obviously that Weapons 1 completed a while ago. It's going to come into effect here. The Mutas come over here. Broodlings a little bit different, though. You see the Broodlings, I think they don't have... Let's see, if they live long enough. Screw it. Not going to worry about it. They should have Weapons 1, though. Oh, no, Broodling level 1 on the way. It's a little tip there. Broodlings actually get their attack upgrades from the melee Evolution Chamber upgrade. So now Zerga's going to be coming in here with the everything and just mopping up shop, folks. This is going to be it for the Terran player. Not a lot he can do at this point with the Broodlords here in play. He's even sending these Mutalisks in, kind of bunched up, engaging that Thor. Yeah, that's going to be it. Just taking out those siege tanks, man. Hell with it. Just whatever. You know what? I don't care at this point. Send all the forces in. Just mop up. Probably could have done that with a few less casualties, but again, who really cares? So, that's going to be game. Congratulations to the blue Zerg player Leon xel'naga for his victory here today on Terminus, one of the new GSL maps. So make sure you guys submit your own GSL replays to my email box for the contest, anaristarcraft@gmail.com, and I will be casting the most epic games that I do receive. Hope you guys did enjoy this. I'm out.